Okay, we are now recording the June 28th, 2019 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Where's Matthew? He's like invisible.
He's been on and off. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, here's Dennis's funny video.
He's hopping right in. Okay.
Okay. Wow.
That's hysterical.
He's stuck. Is his head?
Is he stuck or is he doing that on purpose? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Crash.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Poor doggy.
Water.
Oh.
Try again. There.
Oh, you made it that time.
Siblings. Get out of the dishwasher. Get out of the dishwasher. Uh-oh.
Oh, what happened?
I guess that's enough for.
Funny animals this week. Funny. Cool.
Oh, boy.
Crash. Oh.
Face.
Okay, that's these stuff.
I love the funny animals and the babies. That is such a way for me to decompress.
Stress relief, big time.
You just have to watch the clock because you can look at the watch and go, "Holy mackerel!"
The sled dog that lost his team. That was the last one. Okay. Thank you, Dennis.
Okay.
So, excuse me. QuickBooks Online has been having some serious problems this week. I don't know what's up with it.
They've been down on and off all week again.
Well, I get the notices when they're working on things now. Almost every day we had payroll maintenance scheduled for update. So I don't know if they're fixing the problem or their fixes are breaking and they have to fix it again. And
Have you looked at the To Know webinar where they talk about all the improvements on QBO? They had a lot of improvements on QBO payroll. So
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're making improvements. Yay. Happy to hear that. QBO logon issues. Did anybody experience any of those?
Oh, yeah. You know, you're working along and then all of a sudden it cuts out on you and then you have to reboot it. Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Well, yeah, I tried to go into the company that I go into every day and was told I do not have permission for that.
Really?
Oh, I was reading somebody else complaining about that. That's a little unnerving.
It is a little unnerving until you've had it happen 10 times. Then you just start to...
I was doing a complicated transaction and when I went to save, it said it wouldn't save.
Oh, man, that hurts.
And so I had to reboot it and then go back in and redo it. Yeah.
Wow.
Ouch.
That hurts.
I know that when I'm working on like a complicated one, so say for example, if it's a really long journal entry or something, I'll actually save it midway by throwing it in, like the balancing of it into an unallocated account and then save it and then keep on going just in case.
Well, you know, I'm trying to get into doing periodic saves when I'm doing something like that to make sure that I retain whatever work that I've done. Yeah.
The F5?
No, I hit the little save button, but thank you for the tip.
Isn't that right, Ernest? Isn't it? Oh, keyboard girl over here.
F5 doesn't.
It's like, what the?
F5 is save?
I think it's F5.
Why did I think that was refresh?
Yeah, same thing.
Do they do beta
No.
testing before they unmold or, make these things public?
Hold a minute, I have to Google it now.
What
What's that again?
public, Dennis?
Well, before they implement these changes, do they do any beta testing before they do that, or is it just sort of let the
Oh,
User-
we test.
users beta
We
test?
do. We test.
Using it, we test it, yeah.
Can I,
Developers never do that.
and I think it's really important that people understand this concept, right? Because, so Sarah and I say we test, but, and she's talking, of course, about TBX. The type of testing that we do is so much different than what happens in a QBO world, right? In a QBO world where they're doing, the term that they would use would be continuous integration, continuous delivery, CI/CD. In their world, they're doing micro releases all the time. And T-Sheets very famously, actually came out at a tech conference and went, 400 engineers, no QA. Because the theory is very different than the old school, like build it, test it, release it. Now, a lot of that individual unit testing and integration testing is up to the individual engineer that built that, and with the full intent that if it's a problem, they can pull it out quickly. And it's a very different style of writing software, and it's only enabled because you have cloud delivery, right? Of course, if you have a desktop application, you can't just back something off like that, right? You have no hope of being able to do that. So it's a very different discipline, and we're in a very different world in cloud applications, and people need to understand all of the ramifications around that. So I
can tell, and I do understand those ramifications, and it feels like what Sarah said, we're the beta testers. Because we're the ones that are actually using the program, and we wake up and turn on the computer, and the reason we turn on the computer is because we have a task to do. We are not in that program all day long. We don't know the intricacies of it. We just know that yesterday it worked, today it doesn't.
No, I hear you, and I mean, I think that's a real thing, for us to deal with. I mean, the reality is that there are people that actually. So the other thing that I didn't talk about is also typically a part of the continuous integration cycle is the concept of the ability to roll out a change to small groups of people at a time. So that's an important thing to highlight, right? And that's where you see waves of software coming out to this group and that group and that group. It's because they're trying to minimize the impact that anything that is potentially detrimental, right? So obviously the people in the first wave, you could consider them the beta testers. But if you're in the second, third, fourth, fifth, right? I mean, it's baked in by then. And those are just really important changes that we're going through right now. And, kind of much like we're trying to adjust to not doing, not focusing a practice around bookkeeping, the same thing is true with the tools that we're using in the software world, right? Understanding the ramifications of the fact that there is going, in fact, I have a quote right here in my book. I was at a conference, and a guy from Microsoft stood at the front, and he said, and I quote, "You need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable."
Right.
In his world, yeah. In mine, I don't think I do.
Well, so there's one other aspect about it also, like the idea of like staging versus production. And actually, even with Vendor Sync, we actually have like 3 areas. So when you're creating new code, you're adding a new feature on. In a perfect world, your staging environment is magically set up 100% exactly like your production, and that's not real. It never happens that way. That's why you always hear well, it worked fine on my computer. So what happens is you'll actually have, like, some people will have a staging section, then you'll have like a almost live section, if you will, that is almost as close as you can replicate, like maybe one iteration back, because you just don't know when you go and you put that code in what what comma you forgot, what syntax thing you forgot.
Absolutely,
And then
absolutely.
it breaks.
Is
So
it
it
possible?
would be nice if they had a little bit more of that staging thing.
Agreed.
And some developers are better with this than others. I'm going to say, and this is going to come back probably to haunt me, but Bill.com put out a new dashboard and had no testing, I am sure. Anyway, we are the beta testers there.
They didn't roll it out to anybody. They're doing, it's the same concept because a lot of people said, I haven't seen it yet. And so is anybody complaining? Have they bumped into issues?
Well, it's so buggy.
Oh,
I mean, it is so buggy that it prevents me from being able to do work.
Yeah, that, they should at least get through the basic UI. I mean,
Yeah, please.
Is it
whenever
possible?
I release a TBX, I always just like, for the first couple of weeks, I'm like, the phone rings like, what did I think of? I mean, I remember one release, and it really didn't have anything to do with the release so much, but it wasn't working for a customer, and they had over 3,000 class names. I never dreamed that a client would have 3,000. When you're coding, you don't want to just go out there for infinity. We had put a limit on it so that the thing stops looking, and
Right.
we need to bump that number up.
Well, and batch limitations also, like you can only make so many calls into one single time. So
Right. So, you bump into clients, like I thought I had tested every single symbol / everything in a field. And I forgot what it was.
We just ran into something like this where like literally memos were either copied somehow.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you do the little 2 dots over a U. I don't even know what to call this. How did they do it?
Yeah.
And I'm certain that stuff, Ernest, you probably know, that kills the web connector. I'm almost certain, right?
Sorry, I was welcoming Shelley. So I wasn't paying attention.
Ellie.
Like your glasses.
I like your glasses.
Thanks. Hi.
We're just talking geeky stuff. Sorry.
Yeah,
They had a lot
That's
of
what it's all
webhook issues
about.
this week.
Is it possible some of these micro changes could be the quote unquote final straw in an application where it might do a lot more damage than you were expecting because of the interaction with all the other changes?
I hope not.
Well, another thing is everybody is using different environments. Things are used on the phone, they're used on tablets, they're used on laptops, they're used on iPads, they're used on desktops. So every environment is different, and we expect it to work on all of them.
Welcome to software development.
The last problem that we had with QBO was ProAdvisor training access. And I think we talked briefly about that, people doing their certification and just losing it. There are people that don't have, I know, it's frustrating, very, very frustrating. People are
people losing it or
No, actually losing your answers, and then they go, sorry, we have no proof that you took the entire test.
yikes.
Yeah, so I had that happen with desktop 19. But see, with desktop, I clip it out before I go to the next question. I mean, I just build this OneNote of just all the questions. But from what I understand with QBO, if you have to start all over, it's all completely new.
It is.
So that trick doesn't really work.
Yeah, Matthew, don't shake your head like that because, I just finished taking it and I got blown out of the water. I was watching my daughter take it, and I had completely different questions.
Every single one of them or some of them?
About 75% of them were different.
Oh.
Wow, that's a big
Still
percentage.
save them. I mean, it's still a good learning thing too. Except they don't tell you which ones you got wrong, do they?
That's the problem. That's the problem. If you can figure out what you got wrong.
They'll tell you, say, well, you didn't pass, and these are the issues.
Study this.
Study
Yeah.
some more.
That's the key. And if you look at that part, then you can actually reference back to your screenshots of which questions it was, is how I always did it.
Yeah.
And so when I was helping Linda go through it, I did see what you were talking about where it allowed for new questions, but it wasn't all of them. I had, just like everybody else, I was on my very last test, the last section, and I was answering the very last question. I had taken all my screenshots and something froze up and it just it kicked me out and I had to redo the whole thing. And there was 3 questions that were just a little bit different.
Mm.
But luckily, I mean, it wasn't all of them. Maybe I just got lucky.
I guess it gives you some sort of proof that, I don't know if it makes it, any difference with them, that look, I really put all the time in there. I don't know. I consider these tests forced training. Because especially when there's a new version out, I don't always get around to really delving into everything that's new, but it forces.
Have you guys heard of this QBO chat that happens over Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
that's
Thursday.
the whole topic yesterday. So if you want to, throw something on there, they'll probably still read it. They were talking about certification topics. So add something to the conversation that's productive and, maybe they'll pick up on it.
Yeah, it's Kathy Iconist, right? That does that?
Yep.
That seems, maybe I just don't get the whole Twitter thing. But,
Well, it seems like a lot of work for me to be able to catch up and figure out what topic we're on, because there's usually 4 or 5 of them.
yeah, and it's coming so fast. It's like a ticker tape going across. But for me, my Twitter isn't just accounting. It's all kinds of stuff and all kinds. It's like Facebook, it's family, it's friends. So if I'm sitting there having a conversation on this Twitter feed, aren't all my followers getting?
So you can filter it based on search criteria of hashtag QBO chat.
Yeah, but what you're saying, no, what Sarah's saying is everyone that follows her getting her answers? And the answer
No?
is yes.
Tiffany's going no.
Why do you say no, Tiffany?
Because I follow quite a few people who are on that QBO chat, and I'm often at a client's on that day, so I can't really partake.
Yeah.
I get periodic notifications, but not every single tweet, because I know some of them are constantly tweeting. So I'm not.
Yeah. You don't get
Well, that
every
makes you
single
feel better.
one, but the answers that you give are out of context when you're tweeting back.
Right.
You
You
know,
have to
so
do it in order, or it gets great. It's a weird.
Well, she has questions, so it's Q1, and then when you answer, you have to do A1. So then,
Yeah, that helps.
yeah.
it does while you're in the chat, but what Sarah's saying, people outside of the chat that are just her friends, not necessarily in the accounting industry,
You're like,
gets a tweet from Sarah that says A1, yes, we do.
Exactly.
Hopefully, it should also have the hashtag QBO chat. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if that would help.
How come I got
I
turned into a
still want to
hashtag
bother
instead of a
people
pound sign?
for if I was over here having a conversation.
what'd you say, Matthew?
Then how did it get changed from a pound sign to a hashtag? Number sign, pound sign, hashtag. It's got 3 different names.
Oh.
Because the cool people changed it to something.
Well, it's the same thing with Kleenex and Kleenex. Tissues are now Kleenex. It's sort of the buzz, I guess. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
But I mean, have you seen the YouTube videos of the teenagers that are tasked with dialing an old phone?
Oh no, I
You
was
guys talk about that.
hysterical.
Google that. Is so funny. And then these parents film their kids, and put them online. It's like, oh gosh, I would die. But no, they don't know. Number one, how to do the dial. But even the phones where you push the button, they don't know you have to pick the receiver up first before you dial. And, and they see the hashtag and, it's like, how's that incorporated in this?
Pretty soon, we'll just be able to write, and none of them will understand what we're saying.
That's
Somebody
right.
was saying, yes, I Where did I read it? That since they're not being taught cursive, we can write in cursive and it'll be
like us in hieroglyphics.
That's what I understand a word we're saying.
I already can't read cursive, so I'm already in trouble then. Oh, well.
You're not that young, mister.
Shut up. I'm trying to fit in to that.
Matt, how do you use TweetDeck?
I actually don't know yet. I was just told about it because I was complaining about how disconnected Twitter always feels. For me, like Twitter, if I go to reply to something, I don't know what the heck I'm replying to. If it's like 2 things deep, I have no clue what the beginning tweet was about.
Yeah.
Like, what am I getting tagged on? But apparently TweetDeck is something that handles it. I've got it pulled up. I don't even know why it works for me without trying.
I think TweetDeck is something that you use on your computer. I don't think you can use it on your mobile device.
That explains why.
Does it just lay it out better?
Yeah, I have
Mariette.
right now, and I'm still like, what?
Oh, that's sort of like what's the other one? Where you can then you can have the columns and it's easier to follow.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that Hootsuite or something?
Hootsuite.
Hootsuite is where you can do multiple and scheduling and across different social medias.
So is that an account that you just set up, Matthew? TweetDeck?
I just pulled it up and logged in with Twitter, and it pulled it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's apparently part of Twitter. I was amazed it did the same thing to me.
Well, something to play with.
Yay.
And Hootsuite.
Try that out there.
Oh, I know what TweetDeck is. That was when we were at ExpensiveCon, I think. We were all told, I think you could install it, though. No?
Hey, look at that. They just did Mary's article again. Hey, Mary, they just reposted your article.
I want to tell you, the article you posted, Matthew, blew me away.
Which article?
About QB Advanced. I really...
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
I'm like, I know him.
That was a hard article to write for me. It took me some time on it.
I bet it did. But you were very detailed, and I love that.
Will you repost it in the group for us, Matt?
Yeah, I sure as heck will.
Boom.
I just gave them another one I'm hoping they'll put up. It was from my Scaling New Heights.
That was fast. The TweetDeck just right there.
I know. It's there. I bet Mariette knows about this tweet stuff.
It actually makes columns for things that I've searched before.
Okay. So we'll have to talk about this next week after we've played for a while.
I know.
Mariette's with us, but she may be on the road. She is usually in the car this time of day, picking up kids. Or
She was at Scaling.
I am driving, as always.
Her crew.
I'm
Mariette
driving,
is
but I'm with
driving.
you. I had to just come and say hi. And yes, I'd love seeing you all at Scaling, especially you, Sarah. We spent so much time together. That was super fun.
Yeah, I was like waffling about going to QB Connect, and Mark's like, we have to see our friends.
Oh, no, it was so funny. It was so unplanned, but like Mark and Sarah, we just kept on bumping into each other like the whole time. And I actually came late, and everyone was like, where have you been? I came
that's
a day
right.
late.
You were like tweeting or Facebooking about Scaling New Heights, and I'm like, she's not here. And then one day, there you were.
Yes, I popped in, I popped out, but I honestly, I think I saw you and Mark and Matt and Linda the most.
Yeah.
I was
Ernest.
And Ernest?
Oh, Shelly's leaving us. Bye.
Oh, bye, Shelley. Well, tell me about QB Connect and that. Aren't there like 4,000 or 5,000 people?
Usually,
Overwhelming to me.
been there before?
you've never been to QuickBooks Connect? We got to fix that.
I always buy tickets and then I sell them. But I don't know if, I mean, you know how cozy Scaling New Heights was, and we just went out every night, and we really could really see our online colleagues, and connect. So how is QB Connect if it's that busy?
I mean, I think QB Connect, honestly, for me, QB Connect is, well, first, it's like I know we have like close colleagues that we see here, but then like a few of us have close colleagues that like are global colleagues, and really the only time we see all of them is at QB Connect. I mean, that's when like the whole world comes out. And so for me, it's the only time I get to see people from Australia, people from, I mean, like literally every country. So that's number one. That's why I go, because like there's a lot of gals from Australia that I'm super close to, and they only go to QB Connect. And so that's the first reason. Honestly, I'll be perfectly honest, QB Connect is so much more fun. Like, I agree that I love hanging out with my peeps, and that's the main reason why I go to scaling. But QB Connect is like fun to the 1000th level. It's last year we had a circus. We were literally hanging out, dancing, and playing at a circus. Like, so you can't compare it with the
But
fun.
you don't have any difficulty hooking up with people you want to hook up with?
Oh, no.
They're careful.
I know.
No, you find your people. You find your people, and then you guys go and say, let's go to this corner and let's hang out and let's play. And you know what? Let me grab you and let's go out, and meet at the lounge. Like, you still can do the fun things you do at scaling, except with more people that you don't even realize you have a connection with until you meet them in person. People from all over the world that you were like, I never knew you were so awesome, until you see them and hang out with them.
So it isn't so big. You miss
really
people. Do you ever feel that it's so big that you missed people that were there and you didn't know they were there? Okay.
No, because
I mean, you have to.
you're literally walking back and forth.
I was just gonna say, you have to understand that can happen, right? But one of the things that I would say about scaling this year, even though it's a smaller venue, I actually purposely made appointments with some people ahead of time, which made the entire week better. So you can, if you really want to meet with somebody, make those appointments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know.
Find them on the app. Tell them I really want to hang out with you. But you're literally walking across the same hallways for 2.5, 3 days straight. It's so hard to miss people. And then there's so many fun things to do. Like, the food is amazing. There's constantly like cool little corners that you can hang out in. It's just a lot of fun to be with really cool people that you really like. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I would say that Scaling New Heights was more digestible. Is a word I heard after going to QuickBooks Toronto, because it is a little bit smaller. So from that aspect, it is great that you can spend a little bit more direct time with people. But I do also agree, like, I choose QuickBooks Connect over it. Plus, this year we're going to have a huge Grand Prix at QuickBooks Connect, so that'll be a lot of fun, right?
We get to drive cars?
No.
Something like that.
You have to do an accounting task.
So I've been pitching all over the place the idea of the QB Grand Prix, which is, the bird scooters. We're going to do the bird electric scooters people use to get around town. The point is to do like a relay race. So you start off at QuickBooks Connect. You have to finish a quick accounting task. It's like a minute task based on a vendor who would be a vendor sponsor. Once you finish it, you get on your bird scooter, you race off to the next location where your teammate is there, and they then finish a quick accounting task that's, vendor specific, and take off to the next location and have it with a couple stop points until we finally end it. My goal is to actually have it where it ends at QuickBooks Connect up at the stage. Yes.
So you
That
have
would
to
be
ensure
cool.
that QBO works properly, right?
Can you trick out your little scooter?
Sure. We're going to have to, I'm sure we'll have like teams sponsored by certain vendors and that kind of stuff, but It's Chris Weiss and I are working this together. He's actually helping take a lot care of the logistics locally, permitting, insurance, finding out what we need to have for like police coverage, that kind of stuff, if to go off site. So
you're going to need somebody, a little bus to go around and collect everybody at all these locations, right?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, we don't have to go too far out. The location part's the one question still, because it could be done. It could be something where all these different vendors love to throw like a nighttime event, right? So it would be possible that we could have it set up where if they're going to be doing some kind of a dinner party or event, they get that early and that becomes a stop point. So maybe that becomes part of, have the fun with it. But worst case scenario, it could be along the outside of the convention center. So I'm looking forward to it. We told Rich and Arij about it and they thought it was good. So fingers crossed.
I would say the other big benefit is like if you do, like this is literally where you can go one-on-one with Intuit as partners. Like they have a lot of focus groups throughout the whole event. If you really want to deep dive into any kind of functionality or feature, like they're constantly pulling you into rooms to like just go deeper with them. So, I mean, depending on what your goals are, like this is also my opportunity where I do a lot of my interviews with them. Like they know I'm going to be there, so they'll schedule interviews for them to like ask me questions. A lot of time it's all free marketing and branding because those turn into videos, or those turn into like, photo shoots or headshot shoots or video shoots that I can literally repurpose for my own business. So there's a lot of ulterior things you can do if you really want to take advantage of like the Intuit partnership. I mean, QuickBooks Connect is the place to do it. So that's another, again, based on what your goals are. I use QuickBooks Connect to like say yes to almost everything. Oh, do you want to be in an interview? Do you want to be in a video? Do you want to do a headshot? Do you want to do a video? I'm like, yes. Because then out of that, I get like 50 more marketing materials from that. It's amazing.
That's because you're amazing, Mariette. I don't know if I can
I just want a fraction of your energy.
I know, just a little bit.
Mariette actually brought up
I wanted to just tell you, just so you all share. Do you know that I've been going to QuickBooks X since 14. Do you know every single year at the airport, I fall asleep? Like, I'm so scared I'm going to miss my plane. Because that's how exhausted I am at the airport, like from QuickBooks Connect. Oh my God. So yes, I do use all of my energy, but I've been able to get a lot out of it.
Nice.
The one other thing that actually Mariette reminded me of was Scaling New Heights. All the people from Intuit, when you're at QuickBooks Connect, they're throwing the party at QuickBooks Connect, but at Scaling New Heights, they're not the primary people throwing it. So we actually got to have great conversations with some of the primary people that work in Intuit who are usually so busy running around putting the show on. Talking with Misty. I mean, I spent like half a day with Misty.
Yeah.
So that is another secret for sure of Scaling New Heights.
Nice.
It's not a secret anymore.
Dang it. I'm bad at keeping secrets.
We are almost out of time, but I really did want to say congratulations to Ernest. Ernest has a new partnership. Would you like to talk about it? Tell us.
Yeah. So, if anybody was at Scaling New Heights, I was telling them about this organization. Really, the partnership is about extending what I already do with Power BI. So there's an organization out there, Go Gravity. It's a mid-market accounting solution. They're pretty good in terms of multi-company consolidation. The opportunity was presented to me to be not in their sales channel, but more in their technical channel, just to go build Power BI reports for partners that choose to go out and sell the mid-market solution. So it's really an extension to stuff that I'm already doing today. I'm doing a lot of Power BI stuff. Look, I have a Power BI book open right now. So it's really an extension of that for the mid-market. It gives me another step up, a little broader base of people to come at me. So in addition to being a Cube reseller for QuickBooks Desktop. This is a mid-market solution for that's hosted in the cloud. So I think it's a great opportunity if there's anybody out there listening to this even that is looking for a mid-market solution to sell. Hey, there's already somebody there that's a resource that can help be your guide. And I think that's the great thing about that is really needed technical people to come in to be able to help service beyond more than just their team. The other big thing about this partnership is, I don't know if anybody has heard about the Power Apps ecosphere, but the Power Apps ecosphere, a long time ago, I used to write a lot of Access databases, and it was really transformative for a lot of organizations because it empowered you to create and manage your own data in a very unique way. And Power Apps is, if you will, the cloud version of that, personified. So I can literally build a flow. I literally have one in the background right now that's pulling information from Yammer, putting it in OneNote, and then also sending off something through an email channel. So it's just the ability to build kind of custom stuff in the cloud. And I've always built custom niches. So they're built on top of the Power Platform. So I'll get more familiar with that platform so I can do some additional customizations there. And I'm leveraging the stuff that I already do with Power BI, and they're bringing the customers to me. So that's a win.
Win-win for you. Congratulations.
How do you like the Power Up stuff? I always had a hard time, I don't have your skill set, but I always had a hard time getting it to connect to different apps. And like, I guess that's more flow, but I don't know. I had a hard time trying to put it together.
Well, I mean, I think it's premature for me to talk a lot about that. I think that the Power Apps platform has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I think it's premature for me to say what the greatest strengths and what the greatest problems are with it. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get into this is, the partnership is leveraging stuff that I already know, and it gives me a reason to dig deeper in the things that I don't know.
It's cool. That's awesome.
With people that have already been doing it for a while, because their entire platform is based on the Power Platform. So the other interesting aspect of this company is Microsoft quite a while back came out with something called the Common Database Model. And the idea is, how many ways is there really to store a darn invoice in a database? There shouldn't be that many different things. So why can't you have one common database to allow an easier transfer of information from one entity to another entity? And so, again, leveraging knowledge I already have, and then jumping into a product where, I can learn the common data model. I was fighting through their AR thing earlier today as I was writing a Power BI aging schedule for them. And then learning more about the Power BI platform the Power Apps platform. So that's really the biggest win for me is leverages stuff I do and gets me in a position to learn stuff that I want to learn that I don't know yet.
Nice. Alrighty, guys. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we end for this week? No?
Are you having one next Friday?
Yes, I am.
July 4th?
Isn't that's the July 4th weekend, right?
It is. July 4th is on Thursday, so Friday we are having our hangout. Same time.
Don't talk about our burgers.
So we have ours on Monday.
Yours is on Monday?
Canada Day on the 1st.
Canada Day.
What do you call it?
Canada Day.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
That's
Our birthday.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, happy birthday.
On Canada
Happy
Day.
birthday, Tiffany.
No, it's Canada's birthday. Canada's birthday.
I'm like, happy birthday.
Mine's 27 days later.
Alrighty, everybody. See you same time, same place next week.
Have a nice
Happy birthday,
weekend.
Have a
Tiffany.
great weekend.
Stop it.